Review: Daniel Day-Lewis, Michelle Pfeiffer, and Winona Ryder in Martin Scorsese's The Age of Innocence. Two Irish brothers ride a magical horse into the West, and maverick cop Bruce Willis hunts for the man who killed his father in striking distance.
Shark.
Bruce Willis is a stubborn cop who gets demoted to River Patrolman in Striking Distance, one of the 5 new films we'll be reviewing this week on Siskel and Ebert. And we'll also look at Martin Scorsese's new film and review the definitive new Star Wars collection on home video. I'm Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times.
And I'm Gene Siskel of the Chicago Tribune. Our first film is Striking Distance, and this is the kind of warmed-over, generic action picture that really seems tired. Bruce Willis has done and can do better than this. He plays a member of Pittsburgh's river-based police unit. That means lots of boat chases, and he's trying to track down a serial killer believed to have killed his father.
Take the wheel. Keep heading upriver. Switch to Channel 8. Tell Penniman to send backup. Get out of here.
Along for the ride in many of the chases is Sarah Jessica Parker as, you guessed it, his new partner.
You want to sit around here and have a few drinks and really start feeling sorry for yourself?
Just go now, please.
I don't understand. What is this, Hardy? You won't respect yourself until someone else does first? Well, I respect you.
Trying for some strange reason to blunt Willis's search for the killer is his Italian-American uncle, the city's homicide chief, played by Dennis Farina, a familiar face in cop pictures.
There's an old Italian saying, Tommy. Don't scald your tongue on another man's soup.
Yeah, it is an old Irish saying. Never listen to old Italian sayings.
Some scenes are truly laughable in Striking Distance. I heard you laughing, Roger, during an opening scene where Willis confronts an apparently suicidal cop. This is a true howler, with a wounded Willis hobbling on a crutch like Tiny Tim in A Christmas Carol. Striking Distance, and what a boring generic title that is.
Try to remember that, yeah.
Has a tired script. Indeed, the only fresh thing about it is the boat chases, and a little of that goes a long way. I think it's a crime, really, to spend big money on a big-budget movie like this.
Yeah, you know, if they were going to spend so much money, they should have hired somebody to start asking the questions that the audience is going to ask.
Okay.
For example, there are only 2 possible people who can be the killer, right?
Yeah.
And the movie cheats at the end in
I agree
terms
with
of solving that.
I agree
Okay,
with
now,
that.
there's another person in the movie who turns out to have a secret identity.
Yeah.
And if that person indeed has the identity that that person appears to have,
Okay.
then how did that person get the training to be a police diver? Since obviously there was no time for that. Then there are, well, in any event, the whole question of Farina's behavior turns out to be a puzzle when you think back. And on and on and on. You just sit there saying, this movie is really stupid because it isn't even smart enough to answer obvious questions that the audience will have.
Forget all the intricacies of that. Did you care how this would turn out?
I didn't care because I didn't believe it. It was obviously just a product.
Recycled chase stuff.
Absolutely. Next movie. And our next movie is Into the West, which is not recycled. But is a chase. It tells the story of 2 boys and their horse, and yet it is not in any way a conventional animal adventure or a children's movie, but another one of those richly human films that seem to have been coming out of Ireland so frequently over the last few years. It's directed by Mike Newell, whose last film was the sleeper Enchanted April. Into the West tells the story of 2 young gypsy boys and a gifted steeplechase horse that belongs to them. After a rich man steals the horse, they get it back, but since he has a fake title to it, they appear to be horse thieves. And they go on the run on horseback, heading west across Ireland from Dublin.
I won't leave you again, Assie. I promise. I promise, Assie. I know who you are. I know who you are.
Did you tell her who we are?
No, of course not. She must have heard it on the news.
Although they were raised in a Dublin slum, their family tradition is of a traveling life on the road. They worry about their father, who is played by Gabriel Byrne, as a man who has just about given up since the death of his wife.
Take it easy, John.
Don't take me children, Captain.
It was only a dream. It's all right.
The runaways and their white horse become national celebrities in Ireland, and when it looks like the cops have trapped them, the kids find some unexpected support.
Open the door! It's the police! Open the door!
I'm sorry for barging in. Open the door first, please. Are you wrecked your house? Can we have something to eat?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Into the West was written by Jim Sheridan, the same man who directed the Oscar-winning My Left Foot, and like that film, it's about outsiders in society. Gypsies, known as travelers, have been in Ireland for a very long time, but are still generally discriminated against and considered by many people to be guilty of something until proven innocent. In this story of two boys and a horse, Into the West brings together both a very exciting story and a subtle work of social commentary. This is a terrific adventure, and it's something more than that.
Well, let me focus on the something more. I don't know if I liked it as much as you did, but here's what I really did like about it, and that is the stuff set in the city.
Yeah.
That comes as a complete surprise. If you tell me a story is going to be about gypsy boys and a horse in Ireland, I'm going to think total countryside. That's where the average person would set this story. It wouldn't go anywhere near. Now, to have the creativity to have scenes take place in the city so that you see this fanciful story taking place in a realistic, gritty setting is really fresh. We're hungry. We just dumped on a picture because it's so familiar. We're hungry for fresh stuff.
This movie is original. We haven't seen it before. And if somebody were to, in terms of what you just said, if somebody were to ask you, well, where do they keep their horse? In their apartment? The answer is yes. They keep their horse in their apartment.
That's clever.
And there are a lot of other things like it. It's a really interesting movie.
It's fun. Coming up next, the new film from director Martin Scorsese, starring Michelle Pfeiffer. It's called The Age of Innocence.
There is another woman. Only not the one she thinks.
Introducing the 1993 line of better cleaning scrubbing bubbles. Now with more shining power. Dow Bathroom Cleaner. We work even harder so you don't have to.
Have you ever borrowed a book from thousands of miles away? Across the country?
Gesture ahead. Take next exit.
Without stopping for directions?
Route 101.
Or sent someone a fax?
Are you very much in love with her?
As much as a man can be.
Do you think there's a limit?
That's Michelle Pfeiffer as a femme fatale torturing Daniel Day-Lewis in Martin Scorsese's fine new film of Edith Wharton's The Age of Innocence, a big departure for the New York streetwise director. The Age of Innocence is also set in New York, like so many of Scorsese's stories, but the time is the 1870s, and the violence psychological, as we follow the fortunes of a man called Newland Archer. I like that name. An archer in the new land of America, trying to make it in New York society, trapped by being engaged to a sweet but boring woman and smitten by a new arrival on the scene, his fiance's glamorous visiting cousin, Michelle Pfeiffer, who is married to a European count.
May I tell you what most interests me about New York? Not all the blind obeying of tradition, somebody else's tradition. It seems stupid to have discovered America only to make it a copy of another country. Do you suppose Christopher Columbus would have taken all that trouble just to go to the opera with Larry Laffitz?
Well, I think if you'd suspected that Lefferts were here, the Santa Maria might never have left port.
Daniel Day-Lewis is so discombobulated by Pfeiffer that he implores his fiancée, Winona Ryder, to marry him quickly to save him from embarrassing himself.
Can't we just strike out for ourselves, May?
Shall we elope?
If you would, why not?
You do love me, Newland. I'm so happy.
The film takes us beautifully into the drawing rooms of high society New York. Here, Michelle Pfeiffer, who is estranged from her husband, the Count, and is desperately in need of money, has an audience with her grandmother, the rich doyen of New York society, and totally plugged into what's going on.
I told him he should have married you.
And what did he say?
Oh, my darling, I leave you to find that out.
And the story gets even more complicated when Daniel Day-Lewis does marry Winona Ryder after Michelle Pfeiffer has told him to, but now they're both having second thoughts.
You gave me my first glimpse of a real life, and then you told me to carry on with a false one. No one can endure that.
What I love about this story, based on Edith Wharton's novel, is that you really feel the high stakes of this love triangle, and we don't get that enough in the movies. We get chases, we don't get people in jeopardy. Credit Scorsese, to be sure, but there's also an abundance of excellent performances here. Daniel Day-Lewis is in great pain. Michelle Pfeiffer creates a hypnotic character who may be more manipulative than we know or even she knows, and Winona Ryder's character is pretty much a victim of an antiquated view of marriage. The Age of Innocence is sumptuous to look at, and it's very much like pulling up to a great fireplace with a book and delving into a heartwarming romantic story. I like this picture a lot.
I like it a lot too, Gene. I think it's really one of Scorsese's best films, and I'll tell you, when it was first announced as a project, I thought, well, you know, Marty is really kind of shifting directions here. He's going back to the 1870s to a novel by Edith Wharton. What does this have to do with the man who made Raging Bull and Taxi Driver and Mean Streets and Goodfellas? Actually, this is the same theme that he's been on all along, right back to his first picture, and that is a man who is torn between what society says he should do and his own passions, and complicated with his own neuroses too, because one of the problems with this woman that he loves, Michelle Pfeiffer, is that to marry her, she would have to be a divorced woman, and then he would have to risk the scorn of society at that time in order to do it.
It's the Madonna whore complex that he has been through all of his pictures, going back to Who's That Knocking at My Door? And the violence is just as strong. The games that are being played there, and you have the great Don figure of the grandmother there. I mean, if you want to view it in terms of mob ways, you've got the power of
the old aunt, yeah, because what you have here is even greater passion than you have in the modern pictures, where if people are upset about something, they can scream, and they can express it, they can let it out, and here, everybody is all bottled up. The last scene is so moving because that character has been bottled up for his entire life when he gets to the last scene in the picture.
You know, this picture got, I'm told, a mixed reaction in the press in the Venice Film Festival, and I hope it doesn't taint the mood as this picture arrives now in the States.
Well, obviously, a lot of the critics of that festival would have been Italian and might not have a rapport with the kind of British-based repression that this New York society represents. They might feel that these people are silly, but I know about repression, and I identify with it. When we come back, Household Saints, a movie that asks, how would a real saint fit into modern society?
I'll spare you the jargon. Teresa has temporarily lost touch with what we call reality.
I took diet pills. I lost 34 pounds.
6 months later, the weight came back.
That's when I decided to get off the diet roller coaster and get on a Nordic Track.
In fact, Nordic Track is so easy to stick with that after 5 years, 7 out of 10 Nordic Track owners still use their Nordic Track skiers an average of 3 times a week.
It's been more than 2 years. The weight's still off, and I'm still on my Nordic Track. You should give Nordic Track a try.
Call now for a free video and brochure. Take weight off and keep it off. Nordic Track introduces the Weight Loss Satisfaction Guarantee. Research shows that Nordic Track's total body workout burns more calories than exercisers that only work your legs. Discover what numerous customers have found. With regular exercise on Nordic Track, you can take weight off and keep it off. And we're so confident you'll lose weight too, we guarantee it. We'll guarantee that you'll lose at least 10 pounds in 60 days or your money back. Call now for a free video and brochure. Ask about our 60-day Weight Loss Satisfaction Guarantee.
This is Dan Horde, sports director for WTVH 5 News. Every Monday, people across central New York dare Dan to compete in the sport of their choice. Golf, soccer, and wiffle ball, even bocce. He's a ringer at horseshoes and can whack 'em all with the best of them.
Yes!
Sometimes he wins, sometimes he doesn't.
They have a key advantage. I'm already exhausted.
Don't miss the adventures of Dare Dan every Monday at 6 on WTVH 5 News.
Do me a favor, keep the shop.
If I win, you open that door and keep it open till I say quit. I lose,
You get my daughter, Catherine.
A father bets his daughter in a pinochle game, and the neighborhood butcher wins her for a wife in an opening scene from Household Saints, which is one of the most original and funny and touchy movies I've seen this year. It tells the story of two generations of Italian-American families in New York's Little Italy, where Victor Argo, playing the father who lost his daughter in that poker game, goes home and tells the girl to cook a great meal for what she doesn't know is her future husband. She's played by Tracy Ullman.
I want his meal to be so good, a man would get married. They eat like that every night.
Oh, yeah, well, I got news for you. Nobody gets married for the food.
The butcher is played by Vincent D'Onofrio, and his mother, played by Judith Molina, is bitterly opposed to this marriage.
You marry that girl, and the rest of your life is going to taste like that meal.
But they get married despite everything.
You need something.
Some place to change.
What are you going to change into, Batman?
And their daughter, played here by Lily Taylor, is an unusual, soulful girl who attracts the attention of an ambitious college classmate.
First, I get the St. John's Law degree. Then, I want a Lincoln Continental. I want a family. I want a townhouse on the Upper East Side. And I want membership in all those clubs, like the New York Athletic Club and the Century Club that always turned up their noses to the Italians. And, of course, I achieve all this with my brilliant, and it will be brilliant, career in the wide-open, exciting, amazing field of television law.
You mean like Perry Mason?
The movie spans two generations, and as it develops, that daughter there, played by Lily Taylor, becomes very spiritual and develops a special devotion to St. Teresa, known as the Little Flower of Jesus. And her parents don't quite know how to relate to this outbreak of religious fervor. They're Catholics, all right, but they think she may be carrying things a little bit too far. Household Saints was directed by Nancy Savoca, who also made True Love and Dogfight, and who does something very special here, starting with a human comedy and ending with some basic questions about the possibility of being allowed to be spiritual in our materialistic society. Lily Taylor is a wonderful actress, and the way she creates this very unusual and difficult character is amazing. First we laugh, and then we think.
Well, I think, you know, it's going to take a lot of good pictures to knock this off my best of the year list. This is a very special film, completely original. You've mentioned the two, well, you mentioned Lily Taylor. Vincent D'Onofrio, I don't even know if you know this. Do you know that he played the young recruit in Full Metal Jacket?
Yeah, sure, that was his first big role.
About 70 or 80 pounds bigger than... Yeah. This is a major actor. We've got three big talents here. Tracy Ullman, a character actress supreme.
I'll tell you this. You say you feel that it's peculiar and yet true. I was raised as a Catholic. I went to Catholic school. I grew up in a society where the Little Flower of Jesus did have people who had a special devotion to her. And I'll tell you, people who aren't Catholics might not realize how accurate this picture really is with young girls, especially of that age, getting real spiritual and real devoted and real enthusiastic about their religion. And that's interesting. It's a portrait of religiosity that most movies wouldn't have the nerve to show.
Well, she has to be writing a personal story, and we know the best films come out of stories of people's hearts.
Yes.
It's a special film. This Nancy Savoca, a big talent.
Major talent. Okay, coming up next, a most unusual film without dialogue, packed with images from sacred places the world over. Baraka.
Can you afford the great fit and comfort of LensCrafters glasses? Of course you can, because our wide selection of comfortable frames starts at under $50. Now we have the prices you want and the perfect fit you need.
LensCrafters. Find a lower price, we'll match it, guaranteed.
Jane, I'd like to meet Peter. Peter makes movies.
Features.
We were just talking about this movie that HBO made. It was so intense. Did you make that movie?
No, I didn't.
Oh, are you talking about that HBO movie?
It really cuts it, huh?
Did you make that?
No, I didn't.
It was edgy.
No, I didn't make it.
Excuse me. I heard you make movies for HBO?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Think you've seen great movies before? Just you wait. Sunspot by Sun Chips. Delicious Sun Chips multi-grain snacks. A little sun never tasted so good.
Our next film is something special, too. Got a lot of good pictures on this show. It's called Baraka, and it's a documentary of sorts filled with one fascinating image after another from sacred places around the world, Jerusalem, Mecca, the Himalayas, all in an effort to show the evolution of man. No dialogue here, just images and music like this one, for example, of people praying. And we meet other primitive people in their tribal rites that revolve around dancing. As society evolves, we see more and more human traffic in city streets. These scenes may remind you of another excellent film of this type called Pianiscazzi. One of the essential joys of the movie-going experience is that you get a film that occasionally takes you to a place you've never been before. Well, The Age of Innocence, as we were talking about, takes us to 1870 New York. Baraka, a Sufi word for blessing, takes us to dozens of exciting places the world over. Look for this film in special theaters throughout the country. It's amazing.
Yes, it is. I sat there and I realized everything that I'm seeing on this screen actually took place within the last couple of years on the planet Earth. And I realized how narrow my experience has been and how little I've traveled and how little I know about my fellow man, because there are whole cultures,
Yes.
whole societies, millions of people who live in a different way, get up in the morning and look forward to a totally different day than anything we can imagine.
Yes,
and it's fascinating.
And it should be pointed out that you travel a lot by the average person, and
Not
you still
enough.
haven't seen. And hey, I'm going to China and reasons like this film does inspire someone to travel and see the world. And if you can't afford to get there, this is one way to get there.
Okay, when we come back, our video pick is a big box laserdisc set called the Star Wars Trilogy, the Definitive Collection.
Wait till these people try new Cheese Whiz Squeezable. They're gonna go nuts. Plain old hot dog, instant cheesy dog. What'd I tell you? New Cheese Whiz Squeezable.
I had worked so hard and waited so long for this day. My own class, my name on the blackboard. But what I didn't count on was a terrible headache. That's when I reached for my Tylenol.
Now more than ever, more people turn to Tylenol for powerful pain relief.
The Tylenol worked. The day was like a dream.
Extra strength Tylenol, the pain reliever hospitals use most.
Can you afford the great fit and comfort of LensCrafters glasses? Of course you can, because our wide selection of comfortable frames starts at under $50. Now we have the prices you want and the perfect fit you need.
LensCrafters. Find a lower price, we'll match it, guaranteed.
What's best for a headache? The green bottle, the white pills, the capsule in the tamper-proof package? Is that what you really want? Here today, gone tomorrow, back again the next? I wanted to be rid of my headaches once and for all. My choice, Dr. Stephen A. Companion. He took care of it. They'll take care of your headaches if you'll give them a chance. You don't want temporary relief. You want the problem solved, right?
A name you know, experience you can trust.
At 5 o'clock, the news should be for you, to fit your busy lifestyle. That's why our news at 5 p.m. is your news, designed especially with you in mind, with today's news on your health, your family, education, your money. Important news for you. WTVH 5 News at 5 p.m. News that you can use every day. News for you. Only from a friend you can turn to. WTVH 5 News.
This week is probably the most expensive and elaborate home video package ever assembled. The Star Wars Trilogy, the Definitive Collection, it's called, and it comes on no less than 9 laser discs presenting Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. There's a new video transfer, a letterbox CAV format that allows a frame-by-frame analysis, and the sound of all 3 movies has been remastered from scratch in the THX sound system, correcting inconsistencies and errors that crept into various versions of the films, and especially into the original Star Wars.
Thanks, Wedge.
And there are all kinds of added attractions, including a book by critic Charles Champlin on the films of George Lucas and interviews with many of the technicians involved in the series.
But you can add like a skid to the motion of a spaceship when it's going around a turn that you see and you sense it, and it looks better because you've seen, you know, race cars in Indianapolis skid around a turn, and it just looks really nice.
All of the coming attractions trailers are included, even a rare early trailer calling the 3rd movie Revenge of the Jedi instead of Return. And look at this rare footage of crude models on sticks being used in experiments to work out one of the space battles. Narrated here by special effects expert Ken Ralston.
We took the first space battle and did our own cut, and then we sat down, every one of us that was involved, and did our own sound effects for it. So as the ships are going around, we'd be just
using our mouths and just faking it.
Now comes the bad news. This set of 9 Laserdiscs and a book retails at $250. That's a lot of money, especially if you just bought a ticket to China. But then this is a lot of video, and since Star Wars fans have always been obsessed with details about the productions, at last here's a package that combines superb transfers of the films with answers to just about any question you may have. Now let's take another look at the movies we reviewed this week. 2 thumbs down for Striking Distance, the Bruce Willis thriller with the clunky plot. 2 thumbs up, though, for Into the West, the unusual Irish movie about 2 gypsy boys who become heroes with their runaway horse. 2 very enthusiastic thumbs up for Martin Scorsese's The Age of Innocence, the story of a lifelong battle between duty and passion, with its strong performances by Daniel Day-Lewis, Michelle Pfeiffer, and Winona Ryder. 2 more thumbs up for Household Saints, the original, offbeat, challenging comedy by Nancy Savoca with Lily Taylor as a young woman who wants to become a saint. And finally, 2 more thumbs up for Baraka, the visionary documentary about the strange shores of human behavior on planet Earth. And so, of this week's 5 movies, if you don't go to the Bruce Willis film, you will see 4 great movies, right?
Household Saints, they may not remember that name. Household Saints,
yeah.
Age of Innocence, Baraka, terrific pictures.
Into the West, okay.
That's it for this week. Next week, we'll be back with reviews of more good movies, including The Good Son, starring Macaulay Culkin in his first role as a villain, and Bopa, starring Danny Glover as a South African policeman struggling against apartheid. Morgan Freeman directs. That's next week, and until then, the balcony is closed.
St. Ives Swiss Formula Collagen Elastin Lotion. Made to work in the harsh Swiss Alps, St. Ives Swiss Formula relieves dry skin instantly, naturally. Easy Spirit. Looks like a pump, feels like a sneaker. Dress shoes with all the cushioning and support of athletic shoes. Now in new colors for fall. Klondike Light Bars. Great taste, less fat, 110 calories, and no sugar added. What would you do for a Klondike? Fashion Bug for the latest in junior, Mrs., plus even girls and men's fashions. 1,200 stores coast to coast. Fashion Bug fits your life.
I'm Eric Clapton. I need to talk to parents about how many kids are injured and even killed by falls. Each year in this country, nearly 100,000 kids are hospitalized because of falls. Here's how parents can help keep their kids safe. There are 2 simple things you can do. Use guards on windows.
When the forecast calls for sunny skies, expect clear skies, beautiful conditions, or if it looks like a storm front is approaching.
Right now there are watches for heavy thunderstorms, maybe even a tornado watch.
Turn to the weather guys when you want the current temperatures. High today in Binghamton, 78 degrees, or the extended forecast.
And then the clouds continue tomorrow.
Turn to the weather guys, Joe Minini and Bob Buchanan, only on Action News. Giant fans, when you want the latest pregame action, interviews, and highlights of the New York Giants, tune into Giants Today, Sunday at noon on TV 12.